Well, well. Look who's got the whole community rattled. The streets that used to buzz with gossip suddenly went quiet, like everybody's holding their breath at the same time. The ones who act tough, the ones who brag about being outside, the ones who swear they fear nothing. They're whispering now, whispering your name like it carries voltage, whispering your movements like you're a natural disaster they don't know how to predict. They're gathered in corners, doorways, dim-lit living rooms, trying to figure out how the hell everything flipped this fast. They can feel it, can't they? That pressure that rolled in the moment you stopped absorbing hits and started reflecting them. That shift in the air when the person they thought was easy to target became the reason their best hitters hesitated. There's something in you that makes grown men sweat, something that makes cowards reconsider their loyalty, something that makes their little backdoor deals collapse before they even begin. They spent months setting you up, and then you walked into the room like the assignment never existed. Here's what's really messing with their heads. You didn't retaliate. You didn't gather a crew. You didn't call in favors or flex connections. You didn't need weapons, threats, or theatrics. You just kept existing, quiet, focused, untouched, and somehow that alone broke their chain of command. They're convinced you got something backing you, something forbidden, something they can't name, something that doesn't show up on surveillance footage, but shows up in their dreams. That's why they keep watching you like they're waiting for an omen. 3 days ago, they held their own version of an emergency meeting. Not the fake tough guys who puff their chest online. The real ones, the shot callers, the ones who don't move unless the air goes heavy, the ones who don't speak unless a threat is real. 13 of them, sitting in a back room, curtains drawn, eyes low, hands shaking around old liquor like the bottle could steady their fear. And the topic of discussion? You. Your name sliding across the table like a loaded weapon. They've been tracking you. You felt it, haven't you? That disturbance in the field, that shift in the atmosphere, that quiet pressure crawling across your skin when somebody's energy is pointed your way. They've been watching you, not physically. They're smarter than that. But socially, spiritually, strategically. Watching the way people fold when you walk past. Watching the way bad luck hits anyone who stands too close to your enemies. Watching the way protection seems to blanket you without you lifting a single finger. One of the elders in that room finally said what they were all terrified to voice. This isn't normal pressure. This is something else, something that shouldn't exist in this neighborhood. And he wasn't talking about violence. He wasn't talking about retaliation. He wasn't talking about anything physical. He meant your presence. Your aura. The way this entire community bent around you, like you were altering the air itself. They tried to read you, to figure out what makes you untouchable. They tried tapping into connections. They tried watching your patterns. They tried sending someone to test your boundaries. But nothing worked. Every time they got close to understanding you, something collapsed. A plan fell apart. A secret leaked. A hitter backed out. A lie surfaced. A witness snitched. It was like the ground itself flipped under their feet. One younger one tried to get information on you through a friend of a friend, and he had a panic attack mid-conversation. Chest tight, breath short, like he touched the wrong frequency, trying to decode your energy. He's still recovering. So they went to the street archives. The real ones. Not the stories people post online for clout, but the ones passed down by men who didn't live long enough to warn anyone twice. And buried deep in whispered warnings, they found something that made their blood run cold. Some people aren't meant to be touched. Some people aren't built. They're forged. Some people aren't protected. They are the protection. Some people don't survive pressure. They turn it into artillery. These old stories talked about people who carry a different kind of weight. People whose names are never spoken unless necessary. People who don't start wars. They end them by walking into the room. People whose trauma didn't break them. It crystallized into something lethal, something precise, something the streets were never built to handle. And the most terrifying part? The stories said these people don't even know what they are at first. They think they're just tired, just misunderstood, just minding their own business while life keeps hitting them. They have no idea they're reshaping the field just by breathing. Until one day, the streets go quiet. Until one day, the hitters hesitate. Until one day, the liars start snitching. Until one day, the community starts acting like they saw something they shouldn't have. And that day is today. It arrived through absence. Conversations died mid-sentence. Eyes lowered for no reason. Doors shut quicker. People looked away when you walked by, not because they didn't want to be seen with you, but because they didn't want to be seen studying you. Fear changes behavior long before it changes language. And right now, everybody's behavior is exposing exactly what they've been hiding. The community isn't confused. They're shaken. They're starting to realize they weren't dealing with someone normal. They weren't dealing with someone predictable. They weren't dealing with someone who plays emotional games or engages in petty drama. They were dealing with someone whose energy rearranges outcomes, whose presence flips strategies, whose spirit makes liars choke on their own intentions. That's why their bravado evaporated. That's why the gossip pipeline froze. Nobody wants to be the next name that karma drags into the spotlight. They're replaying every encounter they've had with you, every moment they judged you, every rumor they entertained, every time they stayed quiet when someone threw dirt on your name. Every time they laughed at an insult that was really a confession. Every time they wished for your downfall like that wish wouldn't bounce back. You becoming the center of the Whisper network changed everything. You turned into the reality check they didn't ask for, but desperately needed. The same people who once underestimated you are dealing with a truth they can't outrun. Nothing about you was ever small. Your pain wasn't small. Your lessons weren't small. Your healing wasn't small. Your intuition wasn't small. And your consequences definitely weren't small. Some of them are dealing with those consequences right now. They don't know how to function under this pressure. Some can't sleep. Some can't eat. Some wake up at 3 a.m. drenched in sweat, convinced something is watching them. Some are having dreams so vivid they wake up checking their surroundings. Some are experiencing that eerie sensation of being exposed even when nobody is asking them questions. That's what guilt does. It becomes its own surveillance. And they're snitching because guilt always wants an exit. One of them broke down to a cousin. Another broke down to an ex. Someone else broke down to a friend who immediately repeated it to someone else. Secrets are spilling out faster than they can plug the holes, and every confession adds more weight to the collective panic surrounding your name. They're realizing that the real danger was never your retaliation. It was their accountability. The funniest part? They're confused by the way life keeps protecting you. Every setback they planned turned into a setup for their exposure. Every trap they built collapsed onto them. Every rumor they spread came back around with their fingerprints visible. They don't understand how you're still standing, still focused, still elevating. They don't understand how you keep moving like you've already seen the ending and you're not worried about the middle. It makes them feel powerless, because people who rely on external influence can't comprehend someone who relies on internal alignment. Somebody in that meeting mentioned that exact point. They said, "This one don't move like the rest of us." Another said, "It's like they know things they shouldn't know." Another whispered, "Maybe we touched the wrong one." And then the room fell dead quiet because everybody felt the weight of that last line. They didn't just pick the wrong target. They picked the one person who was built to expose them without lifting a finger. They chose someone whose spirit moves like a mirror, reflecting every intention back to the sender. They chose someone who doesn't have to avenge themselves because energy does it for them. They chose someone whose protection isn't loud, but absolute. Now the streets are circulating a new kind of rumor, one wrapped in fear, not mockery. They're calling you the one who doesn't fold, the one who doesn't break, the one who walks through pressure like pressure was the training ground that raised them. People are starting to realize something they never expected. You're not just surviving what happened. You're walking through it like the architect of consequence. Someone who betrayed you is carrying that realization harder than the rest. They thought aligning with your enemies would secure their position. They thought choosing the crowd over their conscience would protect them. But now they're watching the same crowd crumble, and they're dealing with a level of regret that feels like a spiritual chokehold. They know the streets aren't quiet because they're safe. The streets are quiet because their comfort is over. More information is coming out behind closed doors. People are confessing things they promised they'd take to the grave. Someone who played innocent is being named as the ringleader. Someone who pretended to be neutral is being exposed as the informant. Someone who swore they were loyal is being dragged out as the saboteur. And none of this required your involvement. Your name alone is doing the sorting. That's how you know your spirit is operating at a level they're not built for. You walk into a room and everybody's mask tightens. You walk into a space and people sit up straighter. You walk down a street and the atmosphere shifts, like the air itself respects your presence. You didn't ask for this power. You earned it through seasons of suffering that molded you into something they can't imitate. Now their fear is turning into superstition. They're giving you abilities you never claimed. They're creating theories to explain your resilience. They're telling each other you're protected by something, even if they don't know what that something is. They're whispering that messing with you comes with consequences they can't calculate. And the deeper this fear spreads, the more people distance themselves from the ones who plotted against you. Snitching increases when loyalty decreases, and loyalty decreases when consequences appear. Someone is about to fold publicly. Someone is about to crack under pressure and name names without being pushed. Someone is about to expose the whole operation because they don't want the spiritual blowback alone. They're terrified of what comes next. Not because of you, but because they know the truth is no longer containable. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't make threats. You didn't chase anything. You just remained aligned. And alignment is the most dangerous weapon you possess. And that's exactly where the real unraveling begins. Because once fear becomes a rumor, rumor becomes a pattern, and a pattern becomes a prophecy. People start acting differently around you. Quieter, more cautious, more observant. You can see it in the way they look at you, not with curiosity, but with caution, like you're holding a switch they can't afford for you to flip. They step lightly, speak slowly, and move like the walls are listening. They don't realize it yet, but they're the ones who created this version of you in their minds. They projected danger onto your name until your name started carrying the frequency of danger. They convinced themselves you were untouchable until the universe started treating you like you were. And now, the same people who swore they didn't believe in energy are praying it doesn't come for them first. The streets know something is off. and people can feel it in the air. The hush isn't just quiet, it's heavy. Heavy like a secret that wants to break out. Heavy like pressure that's looking for a crack. Heavy like something spiritual is happening and nobody wants to say it out loud. They feel eyes on them even when nobody's watching. They feel guilt tugging at their conscience. Like a loose thread they can't stop pulling. They feel the consequences circling them, closing in like a cold draft in a locked room. That's why they keep whispering. That's why they keep snitching. That's why they keep pointing fingers and naming names and shifting blame. Everyone is trying to outrun accountability, but accountability runs faster than fear ever could. One of the hitters they hired, one of the main ones, the one who swore he'd never fold. He's the one cracking first. He hasn't slept properly in days. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees flashes of what he attempted to do to you. Not the physical part, the energetic part. He feels chased, haunted, cornered by the weight of the assignment he accepted. He says every time he tries to calm down, it feels like something grabs his attention from the inside. Not paranoia, not anxiety, something deeper, something he can't describe, something that makes him feel watched from the other side of his own thoughts. And that's exactly why he's talking. He told someone he'd rather deal with the law than deal with whatever spiritual consequences he feels stalking him. That right there was the trigger for the chain reaction. Because when the main hitter folds, the rest of the operation collapses. People who were confident start panicking. People who were silent start whispering. People who swore they'd never speak start calling numbers they shouldn't be calling. Someone who used to talk loud now can't look anyone in the eye. Someone who tried to seem fearless now flinches at shadows. Someone who swore they would ride for the team is suddenly not trying to go down for nobody. It's a domino effect. One confession leads to another, and the whole network of lies begins to crumble. Meanwhile, you're not even aware of half the details. You're just living your life, staying in your lane, minding your purpose, and somehow your stillness is causing a storm in households that haven't even spoken to you in years. People are pacing rooms, replaying decisions, checking messages, deleting evidence, burning bridges they once relied on. They're scared of each other now. They're scared of being the last one to speak. They're scared of being the only one held accountable. And most of all, they're scared of being wrong about you. Because being wrong about you means being vulnerable to whatever force they think is guarding you. There's someone in that community, an elder, a respected face, who knows exactly what kind of energy you carry. They've seen this before. Not often, not recently, but enough to recognize it. They warned the others quietly, told them they were touching someone they should have left alone, told them this wasn't going to end the way they thought. But nobody listened because arrogance blinds fools faster than any curse ever could. Now that elder is sitting back, watching consequences unfold like a prophecy they didn't want to revisit. They're not smiling. They're not praising you. They're not taking sides. They're acknowledging a pattern that existed long before you were born. Some people are off limits, and every community has at least one. You're that one. Someone else, someone younger, is watching you too, but for a different reason. They didn't participate in anything, but they overheard conversations. They saw movements. They noticed patterns. And now they're realizing they were witnessing something bigger than petty street drama. They're realizing your presence carries a weight their instincts respect. They look at you with a caution, laced with admiration, like they're witnessing someone who survived what others couldn't. They're noticing how you don't flinch under pressure, how you don't react to provocation, how you don't feed into rumors or threats. They're watching you walk through chaos with calmness, and it's changing them. They don't know it yet, but they're learning from you. They're learning how to navigate energy without letting fear dictate their choices. But the ones who plotted, they're learning a very different lesson. They're learning what happens when someone tries to collapse a destiny they weren't authorized to touch. They're learning what happens when you send hitters after someone the universe is protecting. They're learning what happens when you lie on someone who's spiritually aligned. They're learning what happens when you try to bury someone who grows roots under pressure. They're learning what happens when you attempt to destroy someone who doesn't crack. They transform. The more they learn, the more they break. Someone can't even look in the mirror anymore. They see guilt staring back at them, and guilt isn't merciful. Someone else is jumping at every small noise like their nerves have been rewired. Someone else is avoiding everyone, isolating themselves because they think isolation will save them from exposure. But isolation only gives guilt more room to breathe. Another one is acting overly friendly, overly helpful, overly nice because they want to hide their involvement. Desperation makes people transparent. And the streets, they're watching all of it. People are paying attention to who's acting strange, who's avoiding eye contact, who's suddenly silent, who's keeping to themselves, who's asking too many questions, who's drinking too much, who's paranoid, who's losing weight, who's losing sleep, who's losing their grip. The community knows even when they pretend they don't. People know energy shifts before stories surface. And right now, the energy is screaming louder than any confession. Someone's about to spill everything. Not because they're noble, not because they regret it, but because they're terrified. They know consequences are circling like wolves closing in. They know the spiritual backlash doesn't care about excuses. They know the pressure is about to peak. And when pressure peaks, truth spills. That's why they're preparing to fold. That's why they're calculating their exit. That's why they're choosing betrayal over loyalty. Because loyalty was never real. It was just convenient. And here's the part they didn't expect. The snitching isn't only happening inside the circle. People on the outside are talking too. Neighbors, acquaintances, bystanders, people who overheard something they weren't supposed to, people who saw someone sneaking around your house or car or job, people who caught pieces of conversations that didn't add up, people who stayed quiet until pressure made them remember details. They're coming forward indirectly, telling the wrong person at the right time. Gossip is a dangerous weapon when it lands in the hands of someone who actually cares about the truth. Meanwhile, your silence remains your strongest move. Your composure remains your armor. Your intuition remains your guide. You're moving like someone who doesn't need proof because the universe already confirmed the truth. You're moving like someone who understands that everything hidden eventually surfaces. You're moving like someone who knows protection isn't something you ask for. It's something you carry. That's what keeps them up at night. Not your words, not your actions, your existence. They don't understand how their entire operation is collapsing when you haven't lifted a finger. They're calling it supernatural. They're calling it cosmic backlash. They're calling it karma on steroids. They're calling it that thing around you. They don't know what to label it, but the label doesn't matter. What matters is the results, and the results are chasing them. Someone is already planning to leave the city because they can't handle the pressure. Someone else is deleting messages and clearing their social media because guilt is strangling their judgment. Another one is distancing themselves from the original mastermind because they don't want to be collateral damage. The mastermind? They're cracking silently. They're trying to maintain their ego while the walls close in. Their confidence is shaking. Their perception is shifting. Their pride is bleeding. They thought they were in control. They thought they had leverage. They thought they could predict every outcome. But they never predicted you surviving. They never predicted you rising. They never predicted the community turning on them. They never predicted their own people snitching. This pressure is turning them inside out. This fear is peeling them layer by layer. This truth is dismantling their illusions. Everything they built against you is folding like flimsy paper under a storm they created. And the most ironic part? They're scared of you without you doing anything. They're scared of retribution you never planned. They're scared of consequences you never threatened. They're scared of accountability you never requested. Because guilt creates its own monsters. And when guilt grows teeth, it bites hardest at the person who fed it. Your name is the weight on their conscience, the echo in their regrets, the shadow in their paranoia. You're not haunting them. They're haunting themselves with what they did to you. And the streets? They've chosen their side without saying a word. The silence is proof. The whispers are confirmation. The panic is the confession. Because when the streets go quiet, it's never peace. It's pressure. It's evidence being rearranged. It's guilt shifting from one person to another like a fever. It's tension tightening the neighborhood like a belt. People stop lingering outside. People stop socializing. People stop laughing loud. Everyone's energy gets sharp, watchful, suspicious. That's the kind of quiet that makes even the guilty breathe differently. And that's exactly the kind of quiet surrounding your name. But the most brutal part? They know exactly why. Somebody out there, one of the ones who played the biggest role in the mess, is cracking. Not slowly, not quietly. They're unraveling fast, like threads being yanked out of a sweater by invisible hands. They're pacing rooms. They're losing weight. They're apologizing to people who didn't even ask for apologies. They're talking too much. They're contradicting themselves. Their story changed 3 times in 2 days. They can't hold the lies together because guilt is warping their focus. And every time someone asks them a simple question, their eyes dart, their throat tightens, and they answer with a delay that exposes everything they tried to hide. The pressure is turning their memory into liquid, and liquid truths spill everywhere. There's another one, someone who pretended to be tough, someone who used to walk around like nothing shook them. That person is losing their mind in silence. They're not talking, they're not snitching yet, but they're breaking inside. Their hands tremble when they roll up. Their jaw locks when someone mentions your name. Their sleep keeps getting interrupted by nightmares so vivid they wake up gasping for air. They feel something crawling behind them every time they walk alone. That's the weight of intention turning into karma. That's what it feels like when someone tries to wound a person, spiritually covered. Someone else has stopped showing their face altogether. They're hiding in their own home, curtains closed, lights dimmed. They're avoiding phone calls, avoiding mirrors, avoiding responsibility, avoiding everyone who might ask the wrong question at the wrong time. Why? Because they know the community is shifting its attention. No one trusts anyone anymore. No one feels safe around the original crew. No one wants to be collateral damage. And the person everyone avoids the most, the mastermind. Not because the mastermind is powerful, but because the mastermind is collapsing, and collapsing people are dangerous to stand next to. They talk too much. They panic too fast. They get sloppy. They confess without realizing they're confessing. They start dropping hints, blaming others, projecting guilt, accusing the wrong people of betrayal. And they don't realize every attempt to deflect is actually exposing more. Your name has become the match. Their guilt became the gasoline. Their fear lit the fire. Someone who wasn't even supposed to be involved is now caught in the crossfire. A friend of a friend, a neighbor. Someone who overheard something they weren't meant to hear. They're watching everything crumble from the sidelines. And they're terrified because they know if the truth comes out fully, they might get dragged into the story. That fear is forcing them to talk. That fear is forcing them to distance themselves from the guilty. That fear is forcing them to choose a side, and they're choosing the only side that won't burn them. Your side, and you haven't even asked for it. That's the power of spiritual alignment. It speaks louder than intimidation. The ones who tried to come for you are now getting spiritually profiled by their own neighborhood. Every move they make gets examined. Every whisper they share gets dissected. Every person they meet gets questioned. The energy around them is dirty, and everyone can smell it. They're carrying the weight of their actions like a scent they can't wash off. But the real panic is coming from the hitters, because hitters operate on instinct. Hitters know energy before they know evidence. Hitters feel danger before danger has a face. And those hitters, they feel something coming for them. One is telling people his chest feels heavy when he thinks about the situation. Another keeps saying he feels targeted by something unseen. Another swears he keeps hearing footsteps when he's alone. Another keeps waking up at the same hour every night, sweating, shaking, heart pounding. They all think it's paranoia, but it's not paranoia. It's spiritual backlash. They touched something protected, and protected energy hits back harder than fists ever could. Now they're trying to figure out who the weakest link is. They're side-eyeing each other. They're analyzing body language. They're watching who stopped showing up. They're watching who suddenly became quiet. They're watching who looks guilty. They're watching who's panicking the most. That internal suspicion is turning them against each other. Nobody trusts anybody. Everyone's preparing to betray everyone else. That's how every criminal network collapses. Not from outside pressure, but from inside paranoia. Someone just made a deal. Someone already gave names. Someone already told something they swore they'd never say. They're hoping they can cut their sentence down before the storm reaches them. And the community knows it. People feel when someone is about to fold. People feel when secrets start leaking. People feel when energy shifts in a way that predicts exposure. That's why the silence got heavier. That's why the whispers multiplied. That's why nobody looks certain anymore. Meanwhile, you're walking through all of this with calmness that scares them more than any outburst ever could. Calm people are unpredictable. Calm people are protected. Calm people don't need vengeance. They have alignment. You're the walking reminder that nothing these people planned landed the way they wanted. You didn't break. You didn't fall. You didn't run. You didn't retaliate. You just rose. And rising is the worst punishment they could have imagined. Because you weren't supposed to rise. You were supposed to fold. You were supposed to freeze. You were supposed to crumble. You were supposed to stay down. But you didn't. And that's what's causing the spiritual earthquake around them. Your resilience exposed their weakness. Your elevation exposed their envy. Your survival exposed their intentions. Your peace exposed their chaos. Someone is about to confess publicly, not because you forced them, but because karma cornered them. They'll slip. They'll break. They'll say something in front of the wrong person. They'll expose a detail they shouldn't have known. They'll reveal a motive they tried to hide. And when they do, the whole neighborhood will connect the dots. Everything they build, even their reputation, will collapse. And here's the part that hits the hardest. The ones who snitched aren't the only ones who will face consequences. The ones who watched and said nothing are shaking, too. Silence is a form of participation, and the universe counts that. People who clapped quietly are now hiding loudly. Because the streets saw everything, even what they think was hidden. But the truth? The streets aren't against you. They just watched you rise while others fell under their own decisions. And soon, very soon, the final collapse will happen. Not the slow collapse they imagined. No, the kind that hits all at once. The kind that exposes everything in a single burst. The kind that reveals who said what, who planned what, who backed away, who doubled down, who lied, who orchestrated, who betrayed, and who tried to hide. Consequences have a strange way of illuminating the room brighter than truth ever could. And when consequences arrive, everyone suddenly stands under a spotlight they can't escape. Someone in that circle is preparing for that moment without realizing it. They're pacing hallways, chewing their thumbnail raw, rehearsing lies that don't sound believable anymore. They keep telling themselves they didn't mean for any of this to get so big, but intentions don't matter now. Energy remembers what people forget, and the energy attached to their actions is dragging them toward exposure like a tide they can't fight. They're hoping someone else takes the blame first. They're hoping someone else cracks before they do. They're hoping someone else becomes the face of the downfall. But hope is not a shield, and guilt is not a negotiator. Someone else, one of the silent ones, is drowning in paranoia so intense it's turning into physical symptoms. They're sweating unexpectedly. Their heart rate spikes when they hear footsteps behind them. They jump when someone knocks too hard on their door. They think every car slowing down is coming for them. They keep checking their phone to see if someone texted about the situation. They're suffocating under the anxiety of their own involvement. That's what happens when you touch someone spiritually protected. You don't face karma alone. You face your own reflection first. Now the community is starting to see what's happening, not because they know the details, but because they feel the tension. People are keeping their distance from the guilty. People are calling out sick. People are changing their normal routes. People are avoiding group spots. People are staying home even when nothing is going on. It's not fear of you. It's fear of the fallout. Because once the snitching began, everyone realized they could be the next name dragged into the open. Every lie they told, every role they played, every conversation they participated in. They're replaying it all in their heads, like a film they don't want to watch, but can't stop. And the funny part? Nobody expected this to unravel so fast. They thought they had time. They thought they had control. They thought they had unity. But unity built on jealousy is brittle. Unity built on hate collapses. Unity built on lies shatters under pressure. Someone out there, someone who played it quiet and acted innocent, is about to face a truth they can't outrun. They were part of the conversations, part of the planning, part of the attempts to twist your destiny into something smaller. They thought nobody would find out. They thought their role was minor enough to remain hidden. They thought they would be safe in the shadows. But now, the spotlight is searching, and shadows don't offer protection when guilt glows in the dark. This person knows someone is snitching. They know someone said something. They know the cracks in the plan are widening. They know people are pointing fingers. They know their name is being whispered in rooms they can't enter. And the worst part? They know they don't have the mental strength to handle the pressure. They're already rehearsing denial, already crafting excuses, already preparing emotional breakdowns to win sympathy. But none of that matters. Not to karma, not to truth, not to the consequences that are circling. Someone in the neighborhood who never liked you is suddenly terrified of being associated with the guilty. They're switching up their tone, switching up their posture, switching up their narrative. They're pretending they always respected you, pretending they stayed neutral, pretending they didn't know what was really going on. That's the survival instinct of cowards. They adjust their loyalty to whatever direction the consequences fall. But you don't have to adjust anything. Your alignment speaks for itself. There's another person, one who acted the boldest, who is dealing with a completely different kind of pressure. Their downfall isn't coming from outside forces. It's coming from inside their own house. Their relationships are falling apart. Someone close to them is tired of carrying secrets. Someone is tired of covering for them. Someone is tired of watching them lie to everyone, including themselves. That person is about to break the quiet in a way that exposes everything. Not out of morality, but out of exhaustion. And once that truth drops, the rest will tumble like bricks in a collapsing wall. Meanwhile, the hitters are refusing new assignments, refusing to get involved, refusing to handle anything, because they know one wrong move could spark a chain reaction that drags them all into a situation they can't escape. They're stepping back from anything connected to your name. They're stepping away from anyone connected to the ringleaders. They're avoiding group conversations. They're distancing themselves from the ones who look guilty. A hitter only backs down when their instinct senses something they cannot fight. And their instinct is screaming one thing. This one is protected. Don't touch it. And the more they back away, the more the mastermind feels abandoned. Abandonment breeds desperation. Desperation breeds mistakes. Mistakes breed exposure. That exposure is already happening. There's a location in your community where people gather. Not for fun, but for strategy. A secret spot. A basement, a back room, a garage. Somewhere they thought they had privacy. That privacy is compromised now. Someone from that room is leaking information. Someone who was supposed to be loyal is quietly switching sides. Not to protect you, but to protect themselves. Fear exposes alliances faster than truth ever could. They're panicking because they can feel the storyline twisting against them. They can feel the retaliation they expected never coming. But the consequences they didn't expect creeping closer. They imagined you would explode. Instead, you're ascending. They imagined you would lash out. Instead, you became untouchable. They imagined you would crumble. Instead, they're the ones breaking piece by piece. Their downfall has no villain except themselves. No executioner except their conscience. No punishment except the truth they tried to bury. Someone is going to confess first. Someone is going to confess loudest. Someone is going to confess in a way that exposes everyone they ever sat with. They're not doing it because they regret hurting you. They're doing it because they don't want to carry the wrath of what they awakened. And when that confession drops, the entire community will shift instantly. People will see the guilty for who they really are. People will realize your calmness was never weakness. It was divine timing. People will understand you were never a victim. You were the evidence. People will see that the reason the streets went quiet wasn't fear of violence. It was fear of truth. Truth is the most dangerous weapon. It destroys reputations quicker than fists. It exposes motives quicker than investigations. It unmasks cowards quicker than rumors. And truth has chosen this moment to surface. The ones who plotted against you are about to face judgment, not from you. Not from their enemies, not from the law, but from the same community they used to manipulate. Communities don't forgive betrayal easily. Communities don't forget when someone crosses a line. Communities don't stay blind when the truth becomes too loud to ignore. Their names will circulate. Their lies will echo. Their guilt will stain. Their collapse will be public. And you'll walk through the wreckage untouched, unmoved, unbothered, because the universe didn't ask you to fight. It asked you to withstand. And you did. Now everything hidden is surfacing. Everything plotted is failing. Everything stolen is returning. Everything whispered is backfiring. Everything weaponized is collapsing. Everything they built against you is turning into the blueprint of their downfall. The streets know. The hitters know. The snitches know. The community knows. It's going down exactly the way the universe planned. Not with chaos, not with noise, not with retaliation, but with a silence so heavy it suffocates guilt into confession. And that's how this ends. Not with you striking back, but with them choking on their own intentions until the truth spills out and exposes every last one of them. This was never your battle. This was their unraveling, and they lost.